Dream Machine is a unique and immersive video game set in a post-apocalyptic world. The game follows the journey of a father and son who, after surviving an apocalyptic event, are living in an underground bunker. The father, driven by love and the need to maintain their sanity, creates a machine that allows you to control your dreams. The son, who was very young when they entered the bunker, uses the machine to experience the world before the event. Through these dream adventures, the son learns the skills he will need to eventually leave the bunker. Unbeknownst to the son, the father sacrifices his sleep and health each night to operate and troubleshoot the machine, allowing his son to live a new adventure in his dreams. Eventually, the son has to venture out of the bunker and witness the horrible state of the world. Dream Machine is a game of survival, sacrifice, and discovery. It's a testament to the power of love and the human spirit's resilience. Join us as we bring this captivating story to life.
Hi, and welcome to Dream Machine, the development project that we've been working on here at Icebreaker Games. I am Joshua Blair, the CEO and lead developer of Icebreaker Games. Welcome to our live stream. Today we're doing something a little special. We're doing not only some game development, but we are also going to let anybody come into the chat room and ask any kind of questions that they like, anything about the industry, anything about making video games. Anything we want, you name it. I'll do my best to try to answer. Try to keep everybody happy, keep everybody entertained, and it should be some fun. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and continue doing some Unity development and working on this project. So if you watched anything from our previous streams, we were working on our opening scenes, and we were also working on the UI elements to our game Dream Machine. We had just finished working on the resume pause menu here. So we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to continue to kind of fine tune it and get things going. Ideally, probably I'll start off with this settings button, and then maybe the save game and load game, we could maybe have some type of element show up, pop up, and even though we're not going to be able to completely save the game or load the game at this point, but maybe we do have some UI elements that are at least placeholders for that concept. We're also going to change the quit button to actually pull us back to the menu, and we may do something like a pop-up that says, hey, would you rather go back to the desktop or go all the way back to the anything like that. I think really helps out with the user. Sometimes it's frustrating to have to quit, go all the way to the menu, and then hit quit again if you want. I think that's where we're going to start, and we're going to dive right in. So we have our level 1 bunker scene here. Currently our pause menu is, our pause panel is open. You can see we do have this button group here, and we do have our resume button working just fine. But let's quit. I'm gonna go ahead and add a Playmaker FSM onto here. I'm gonna call this quit button. Those of you who haven't heard a million times already, Playmaker is kind of a visual scripting solution for Unity. I love it, absolutely love it. It's an amazing product that you can get on the Unity Asset Store for about $60. I recommend it for those who aren't necessarily the strongest at coding, or maybe want to save time. Very, very easy, convenient product with a lot of tutorials on it. Definitely take. Also going to set my watermark. That's one of the cool things about Playmaker. You can set a watermark for each one of these FSMs, and that tells the rest of your team that's working on it with you who was responsible for creating this particular. what we're gonna want is want a UI button on click event. These are all the actions in Playmaker. They're all backed with actual C# coding, and so they were pre-made for instances like this. So all I have to do is just add the action. We are going to have to move this FSM, copy it, and we need it actually on the buttons. Here's our button component. We're going to move it here. I don't need this one anymore. Now that we're on the actual button, you can see the UI button on click event doesn't have any errors, everything's good. So I usually just call this an idle state because it's not going to do anything until it gets any action or feedback from the player. It's going to sit here and do nothing. Once we do get a button pressed, I'm going to click or create a new event called pressed. You can just click right here on the red to add that. And so we're going to basically do something once the button. Now I'm thinking, like I said before, we do probably have to open up a separate panel, or maybe probably called pop-up, kind of a confirmation pop-up. Hey, do you want to go to the desktop, or do you want to go to the main menu, or do you want to cancel? So we're gonna have some type of activate action here, but we don't know what it's gonna be yet. I will have to reference it from the hierarchies and mark that blue. That's just that I do. You guys can use any type of coding combination you guys want. I really like using these colors, and it really helps with the teams as well. They're diving through your Playmaker scripts. It's really important for them to kind of know what each state's doing. So I do have a color combination. Now I'm gonna say activate. I just call it a pop-up. And then we're gonna go and let's pull up our asset store, our GUI package that we're using. And I want to say there's something that we can use similar to like this. I know it's really small, but you can see this is a pretty decent kind of pop-up. Of course, it's not exactly the way we want it, but we can use this as kind of the example that. I'm gonna shrink that back down. And since I know what it is, it's the pop-up sign-in, and I have this scene over here loaded active. So I'm gonna go ahead and just the rest of the way. And they have these demo panels. So all I gotta do is find that pop-up sign-in. I'm gonna copy it, bring it down into our scene, and I'll go ahead and just drag it in canvas here. Now I no longer need this demo scene. The reason why I leave these here just unloaded is it's just very convenient. I don't have to go and find that scene in file structure here. I can just right click on it and reload it. Especially with a scene like that I've been using periodically throughout this streaming event. So I think, if it's something that you're going to use a lot, it's definitely what. I also have our other new scene in case. So here is our pop-up. Scale is always messed up for some reason, so go ahead and change that to 1. For now, I'm going to go ahead and stretch it out full size of our canvas here. And since we're going to do this inside the pause panel, it's probably going to be something that shows up over the top of the actual. So let's try to design it where that makes sense. You can see here already kind of a pretty good example. It is larger than our canvas. So if we look at it in view, it's stretching a bit above and beyond what we need to do. So I will fix that. Alright, I forgot that they have this script here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Now we can just kind of down that. This dimmed background here, I do want that to still remain stretched out. Then we have the actual pop-up here. I think where we had it is fine. And then we have a couple concepts here. Okay. The top bar we're gonna say quit question mark. We definitely want the cancel button up there. We want to decide not to quit. We don't need a input field. We don't need a toggle. We don't need password or a sign in into that nature. I'm debating in this button, actually duplicating it, because what we can do and change these buttons to be our, it's a to desktop. This one should be to desktop. And this one should be to now. We'll change the names of these. And this one, top button. Menu button. Look at it in the game view. I think that's pretty good. Maybe the text here isn't in an ideal location. Good. Go ahead and do some of the logic for the posts. So we have the close button here. I think we can get away with just using on-click events for this, because we're pretty much just going to deactivate it. So we're going to just turn this pop-up off. I do want to rename this pop-up. And go on the actual close button, we have the event, on-click event. We're gonna say, turn yourself. When we do that, it'll automatically just bring us back to pause. That's pretty standard procedure there. Now, these we need a little bit additional scripting. Use Playmaker scripts for those. And add that. Add my watermark. Go ahead and add that same action we used before. The GUI button on click event, excuse me. Rate that pressed event. You can copy and paste this state from another FSM. That's easier to do or quicker for you to do, by all means, do that. I tend to not do it that way. That's just. And it looks like I need just a couple second break. I'll be. All right, we're back. So we have our state here, and then we're going to want it to do something once the button is pressed. Because this is the desktop quit button, call this quit desktop. We can just do nice application quit. Exit code 0. All we need, this button will take you all the way back out. That's pretty easy. I can go ahead and copy this component, go over to the menu button, and paste the component as new. We're going to change this name. Quit to menu. Now, instead of doing the application quit on this one, we are going to load. And because we have our menu here at index 0, doesn't matter what the name of that is. Excuse me. All we need is just to reference it by index 0. And I think that's literally all we need. This one. If we look back at our scene, I think this works. It's also I think I'm going to make it a child of the actual paused panel. Debating the consequences of that right now. Sometimes, since this pop-up is only going to be accessible through the pause panel, I like to have it a child of. Still work out pretty well. I guess. Yeah. So let's run this here. Now if we push escape, we have pause, hit quit. Troubleshoot that. So that's right. We forgot to go in and set the activation, which pop-up does. And just like before, I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, once you're finished, go back to an idle state. just in case, the reason why I do this, I know it's a little confusing, but with this particular FSM state, this FSM is going to be active even while the pop-up is. So if we end the state, we don't go back to the idle position, then that button is no longer going to work if you pushed the X or the cancel button, actual button. Hopefully that makes sense. Since I know it's a little. I'll try to explain it maybe once we're in play mode. We push escape, hit quit. Notice the pop-up shows up, but the other FSM, this quit button, is still actually active. We can't click on it because we put that nice dimmed background here, so none of these other buttons are going to be clickable. But if we go ahead and exit out, we want to be able to re-click on this. So if the state didn't bring it back to the idle state, then we wouldn't be able to click this pop-up. So if we click back to main menu, now it does bring up. You're not gonna want it. We're not gonna want it to load that menu. We're not gonna want it to load the actual splash screen up in everything. So we're gonna have to fix that. We're gonna have to create some logic for that. So maybe we'll get to it today. Maybe not. So here we go. Moving right along. So I think the quit button is good. I guess we didn't test the application quit. We can do that real fast. So we quit to desktop, and it just stops the play mode. That worked out good. All right, so we move right along and we look into settings again. So we have a couple ways that we can do this. We can say with our settings panel from our menu, we can set that panel as something that doesn't ever destroy. And what that really means is even when I move from scene to scene to scene, that particular item is going to carry over in between. Now that means we only have to set up one settings panel, and if we make any changes, it's going to be across the board. And we only have that one set of scripting, and we only have just this one panel that we have to deal with. That is probably the ideal way. So the other way would be to duplicate that particular panel and just bring it into the scene as well. And there's really the only bad reason to do it that way is just if we make any changes to one panel, we're gonna have to remember either make those changes on this game panel or just reduplicate it. So, it might be up to preference on this, might be up to your game itself, what you're working on. I'm not sure. So, what we should probably do for this particular game is probably make it so it does not destroy. But if we do it that way, yeah. I think for now, actually, I'm not going to do it. Just because of some of our references, we're going to have to do them a little bit differently. We're going to have to, instead of finding it in the hierarchy, Actually have to search through the entire hierarchy to find it. Not that big of an issue, but get things a little bit more, and for the sake of this tutorial or this streaming event, probably just all we gotta do is go ahead and load this menu scene. Go into our canvas. We have our settings panel here. Copy this. No more. Now, if we have our settings panel, we go ahead and turn it on. You can see it looks exactly the same. It's got scripting, have all the concepts. Good. Now, notice it's a little bit more awkwardly placed when it's on top of the pause. You can see a little pause back there. What we'll probably do is set up logic where it'll turn off the pause panel. I do like the dimmed look to it, so I'm in that. Now, if we look at a nice little dim going. Because the settings panel is completely different than the pause panel, we're going to add that to our initial. Okay, make sure that's turned off no matter what. Around kind of stuff. And then we're going to want to set up the logic for that setting. And all we only have to do some on-click event. So it's gonna be pretty easy. Turn on the settings panel and turn off your. Test. Okay, settings, bam. Settings works. Now we are going to want to change this logic here. Let's go ahead and that. A bit. No button close. So notice right off the bat, get lost its reference whenever it's supposed to close. It does close itself. It doesn't open. And so we're going to have it open. Pause panel. Try again. Settings pops up. X, we go back to the pause menu. I think time is still stopped. Background, that's good. By the time it's gonna resume is barely see the blinking, but it's there. Our screens are moving. So that is working well. And then now we have to deal with the save game and load. Once again, to make this easier, I'm gonna go to our channel, and we're copy this. gonna verify that the back button works the way we want it to. We have some Playmaker FSM here. And we never went back and actually fixed it. We do not need this weight. You have to remember that in a minute. That's why I like marking that stuff red. So it reminds you to delete it, fix it, do something. And in fact, we don't need this animation trigger because we aren't doing it from the menu. So we are going to disable the load game panel, and we want to activate the pause panel. Because I don't need to set another transition to bring us back to this, because this panel is going to be deactivated, and once it gets reactivated, start from. That gets once you start playing around with Playmaker. You need to add this load game panel now to our initialization. So now, if we push play, escape, and push load game. Did we ever actually set that up? Not sure if we set up the any logic. Actual skip to step. So on here, all we need is do on-click events again. Turn on the load game panel. Off the game, see, bam. Our save games. Back. Go. Now, I think for now, the save game is going to look almost identical to the load game. I am going to duplicate this. Not save game though. Change the name of this. Save game. And in this, not considered a name button. Change the name of this, not save button. I'll change the text as well. It's gonna look very similar to the load game, except now we do want to also create a concept here for a new completely new. Doesn't have to be anything too special. maybe we can leave the preview there, but maybe we have more of a blank screen. Like that. Not sure why it's there's some text that. Oh, that's just because our load. We would want it to set up where if we saved over this game, we would need a pop-up. Kind of an overwrite question pop-up. Not worried about that right now. And just this. We do want to add this save panel to our init. And looks like we did not set up the lock. One of those days. Friday. Yeah. Fine, this is not work. Have our back button. That real fast. That looks good. What we need? Buttons. Click events again. Activate the save game panel and record. And we'll try it again. And there we go. Button. Up. All this looks good. I think we didn't bring over our language pop-up. Come to think, should have been also in the actual settings panel. One of the reasons why I do that is because go ahead and copy that. Okay. This. Come back and do some cleanup for the menu here shortly. But settings, we had a language. Now it lost its reference. I'm gonna go ahead. Take a look. Because it's a pop-up, we don't want it to turn off the settings. Let's see what this looks like. Settings, language pop-up. Let's add that nice dimmed concept pop-up. Now you pick your language. To verify this close button. Nope, it lost its preference as well. And I don't think it's actually do anything else. All we gotta do is just... So let's push play. Might capitalize that language. Try to keep it consistent. Go settings. Script still works. Like everything. We are going to want it to adjust this image here to whatever flag you see. Have to remember. We are still work here. Good. Gotta remember that this pop up. So actually here, depending on which flag we select, is actually a little bit complex concept. We look up this pop-up again. We need it to know which flag is selected, which language. Then this needs to update depending on which one. There's multiple ways of doing it. Probably the easiest way, or at least I think the way I'll do it here, probably here. Kind of show off some of the things we can do with Playmaker more than what we. So, about this. We have the 20 languages here. We can assign a number to each one of those. So we have 0 through 19. We can have each button set a value in another FSM that represents that whatever one it was selected, then we would just have it up. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll go ahead and turn this off for now. We have 20 buttons. It's gonna be a little interesting. Then we have this on here. So I'm gonna start off by making. And I'm basically going to say we're gonna need an array. I'm gonna say call it flags selected. It'll be an array of integers, and we're gonna have those number them. Did I mess up? 0, 1, 2. And so we're gonna say actually thought of an easier way. We can just have one value, have it called, have it be an integer. And then we can have basically an action that is going to do something depending on the value. So we're going to do probably an integer. Think about it. We're gonna do the integer now. Basically gonna say, hey, this integer flag selected, if it's equal to 0, then we're gonna do. This is gonna get a little bit lengthy here. Don't necessarily like doing it this way, but it worked. So we're going to add essentially transition. I'm gonna kind of do this fast. Okay. Not necessarily a fan of doing it this way. A little lengthy here, but because they're all generally the same concept, not necessarily frowned upon. And this is also something that will handle pretty easy. You know, do all these actions. I think under normal circumstances, I wouldn't do it that way. But I want you guys to see that Icebreaker can handle this kind of stuff, and I feel like we've just been practicing style Playmaker scripts, so I wanted to show Playmaker is you can do pretty much. This is kind of brutal to get through. Also, probably brutal to watch. My apologies. Almost there though. Could have set it where it does kind of the less than or greater than 2, so it actually will work its way through some kind of logic like, hey, are you less than 5? Go. Less, more than 5, go. But in general, you're gonna pretty much make all of last one. Don't even run. We can say on this we'll do this, but 18. Now we need to add all of these. Remember, like I said, this isn't necessarily the best way of doing it. If I had somebody on my team, I would ask them to do it. But it's going to speak volumes. Playmaker. Sometimes, if you can't figure out a solution, and you have to do this really kind of robust, almost elementary style playmaker FSM, it'll still work. It'll get done. It'll still do its job. And you'll just remember that script. Later down the road, you may script better now. But this script is going to work. It's going to do its job. And it's not going to take a lot of computing power or anything. Do this. The only issue is it took us a lot of time, maybe. Even if we had gone through ChatGPT to create a script, we would have probably been done. Now, where it's going to get a little bit interesting, we want to now, if it's 0, we're going to want it to set the flag to. We're going to want to know the exact order that pop up. It's going to get interesting. But now, let's think of how to do. We have the pop up here. Go ahead and just take a sip of this and here. We are going to want an array of flags. We're going to want them to be sprites. So it's a little complicated, but go down here and select object, go to object type. You're going to want to go to and if we click S, scroll down, eventually sprite. Sprite is basically the. And so now we're going to put them in order based off of where they were in the pop-up. I'm going to use this on. So the very first one was here, English. This one, next. One. Not even going to be able to. I think this is Korea, China, Italy, but man, you. Not very good with flag. Oh, our flag. Oh, Canadian flag. What are these even? Element. We actually do have duplicate. This one is at large and small. I think we only. And now that I think about it, they may have used all the small ones here. Get out real fast. Let's see this one. They have to go in and change all of these. Fun, guys. Fun. Starting to burn. Look. We got this small hole in one, and another hole two. Nice. All of them have these this border and some. Man, this is for. Definitely need. Under 3 more here. This is where I was telling you got into. We might have run out of flags to do here. Fine. We have officially made it through. So, based off of the integer, we're going to set the sprite. Set this. Before we do that, we're going to have to get ultimate array. Good, great. And we're going to do it based off of flag selected value. For this value, set the property set flag. Now, a couple things we could probably gonna have to have a idle state here that's always looking at the but I try to keep that from happening. We don't want something just constantly working, constantly. You know, that's where we're going to use some of that computing power. If it's constantly, we don't need this to constantly need it to update itself. So I'm going to create this kind of idle. I'm going to do absolute idle update. Literally do nothing. But I'm going to mobile. Update flag. Mark that mobile. Remove the transition. So now, once the FSM runs, it's not going to do anything. But anytime you push the button of the flag, it's run this. Run this state, and hey, which flag did you push? And at the right finish. A little crazy because we're gonna need I don't think we need to make any up. In fact, no. think I told you my brain is not working today. It's Friday, guys. I want to go out and start doing stuff outside. Um, I think we can actually get away with it doesn't matter. We didn't need to do all these int compares. I think we can literally just get the array based off the integer. Get the sprite based on the integer. Set it. We don't need this. But what I'll do is I'll let that global transition here instead. Put this in red, potentially. Pull from that array. Creating that array was crazy. Much more. Now if we go back to this button here, what we're going to create all we're going to do is set that FSN integer. Of course, we want to do that once pressed. That pressed times here. I'm to specify that. And since it didn't actually make, I'm gonna go. Goes up here now, and integer flag selected. Set the 0. That what I want to do is call that event. Yes. Specify back. What I'm gonna change the blue just to drag dinner. Good to go. What I can do is that I can copy this component. I'd select all of the. Now we just go in. Probably could have done this either. Have it derive its own your value from its name. Instead of having to. But I'm committed now. Oh, it's been a while since we playtest. Hopefully, it's I also don't necessarily recommend having a very similar work. In general, you can create what's called a template, an FSM template, and adjust one. It's going to automatic fix all. That would probably be the idea. Because now, if we decide this isn't working, we messed up, and I would have to go in and make 19 is not that big a deal, but sometimes you may have this hundreds of. You wouldn't want it. In those cases, we'll just use regulars. So it's going to set that integer value, and that's it. It's extend this event update, and based off of that value, it's at right. I have a feeling this is do a much play test here. Alright. Okay. Settings. Pop-up needs to be off that. We select and we select a new flag. Push escape. Now we would want to also change text here. Obviously no longer. But made progress. Go ahead and leave. And remember when I was talking about how we would have to, whatever changes we made, settings panel would have to. That's a great. We made changes to the settings panel here. And we would want those exact same done. That's a really good reason to just create one setting panel. Make it so that it cannot do not destroy, so move on in between. That way when you make on it. Right now you have to either copy this settings panel to the menu, reset preferences, or make those exact changes you did right now. I could do. What I'll do is get it to do the menu cleanup anyway. I think I'm gonna add this pop-up, this language pop-up, because it seems like. Go ahead and add. Now we have our menu. Definitely change. Go ahead and that one. What we can do is we can copy FSM. Go ahead. Then we also pop up We would have to copy each individual FSF again. Copy the one, and then now you can see. Essentially do exactly what. This is something we will have to address eventually. Want the do not. More changes we make, or we're not. The reason why I'm not doing this right now is creating the do not destroy is very like one action, but some of our references are going to have to put up, find those headings, or what scene you're in. And so that could get complex. I'm not saying we're not going to do it eventually. We can avoid it for now. I want to say that's all. Which the other cleanup that we needed. Not working. Into one of the references. In fact, oh, now I got you. Now we gotta drag this. That's all it takes. But we will have to all 19 times. Redo. I wish we would. Okay. But you also turn it from right here and use I'll this thing. Always find your code. Let's see. This time is try it again. Setting. Switch. Drag this over to the side. I want to make sure that we are indeed calling this so. Because our settings panel deactivated and it's separate pop-up. But that was it. Was fairly easy. Settings. It's a rough day today. But remember, we had the switch button deactivate. It was deactivating the pop-up. Deactivating the settings panel, then activate everything ever since the pop-up. Here. Fired off. Fired. Lost our. You can see that property. Pretty easy. And again, guys. Give a shirt. Here we go. I would literally have to do research on knowing what language that we would change this to. I could just put the country for now. But I don't want to spend too much time on this because this is something that we're not going to really be using. This is double check if we had any you've seen. Good. that. Loading our level. We need to start working on either fixing up this scene to make it playable. You can see we only put lights in this general area because that was the lights we needed in our scene as well. The rest of the level is all just dark. So we're gonna want to kind of, fix that up a little bit. We're also gonna want to create some logic. Obviously, player moving around. Then these doors are gonna need to back us and open it. Maybe they're automatically open. I definitely don't want them to have to. You have to keep. But we're gonna want to make it so the player can move around here, do things fairly. The character controller itself is very complex. Probably spent a good amount of time on that. Very first initial character controller, at least for this level, isn't going to include any kind of combat or anything. Mostly just going to be walking around, being able to engage and talk to your father. We're going to need the animation. We're also going to want the father to basically walk around and do. I think every single time you get out of the machine, your father should be. We don't want him just sitting on the couch all day. Create kind of a boring storyline. Sometimes he might be over something. Sometimes he might actually didn't. We would want to stop and put. And we're gonna want him to do. We're gonna have to create some type of AI system for that. It'll be fun. But the player should be able to move around and pretty much do whatever he wants. You may even lay down on things, maybe even go to the bathroom. The more stuff that the player can do in here, even though it may not really truly amount level more. But ultimately, yes, there's only going to be a certain amount of things that you can do in this curve. So it's going to kind of push you to go back to the and you're going to want to do the next. Once you obviously complete all the levels, that's when the real game. Now once we're in the levels, the character controllers are going to have to change. Might be a knight, or another time where samurai, soldier, got guns. Character controller is going to have to be all of those, especially since we're going to want a lot of the. We may have to fake monk, so to speak. For example, laying in the couch. We want him to sit on a couch, sit on a chair, or even we teleport. Very similar to like Fallout. may have to, because creating these really smooth animations at the line in the Dream Machine. This usually takes a full studio. We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna figure it out. Make it look. Remember, we're just kind of creating beta version, prototype version. Once we get this out, get all you guys playing it back from everyone, make it easy. So I think I'm going to leave. Thing for now. I'm gonna stop this. I think next stream, probably on Monday. We will start diving into that character. Moving around. We'll probably have to spend a whole day, maybe even 2 days working on that. Getting him moving around, doing things. Really push and progress this game forward, and it's actually. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Really exciting process. Really sorry for all the craziness today, Friday and all. Forward to see you guys next week.